Hey guys, Kaylee here and welcome back to the Honeystead. So I have had quite a few people reach out and want to talk about my tomato greenhouse. One, why are we growing so many tomatoes? How many tomatoes we're growing? What are the varieties that we're growing? You guys want to know about my trellising system. A lot of people ask about pollination and how my tomato plants are pollinated inside this closed structure. And I'm sure that there's going to be more. I've got a little bit of work to do up here, and I figured this would be the perfect time to talk about my odd obsession with tomatoes and why I have so many of them growing. So let's go. Come on, let's talk about it. Oh my goodness, look at that one. That's gonna be a big one. That's the purple boy. I'm gonna start by talking about our trellising system. I know that there are quite a few different ways that you can actually trellis your tomato plants or other plants that you have. I grow roughly 200 tomato plants a year, and I did not want to invest in those cages that basically after one season they pretty much fall apart. The trellising system that we use is actually called a Tomahawk Hook. I grow a variety of tomato plants between determinate and indeterminate. So the determinate tomato plants are essentially, they have a determined height of basically growing. To compare it to like an indeterminate that can grow so much higher than those tomato cages. Now, we could have done things a little differently. My beautiful friend Jess and Maya over at Roots and Refuge, they use cattle panels to actually trellis their tomato plants, which if I did that outside, I probably would do that. However, because I'm inside, this greenhouse that I have is about a 17 by 48 size greenhouse. We purchased this one used with all the vents and the fans. This is my second year growing in a greenhouse like this. Now, the reason why it's, I guess, considered more of a greenhouse versus a high tunnel is the high tunnels, typically you can raise up the plastics on the side, but this we designed to not. We actually added a couple of other rows of pipes in here, and I have on here a special zip tie that actually hooks on. The reason why I have that is so that if we want to allow the tomato plants to continue to grow, I can actually kind of angle them and they can grow more at an angle. So I started off my tomato plants closer to this side versus the other side where I left a couple of feet of empty space that if we wanted to allow them to continue to grow, they can kind of grow up and over at an angle. I start trellising my tomato plants by taking the string, and see this little groove right here? This little groove is essentially what you want to clip around your string. See, what happens is nothing, it can't move up, it can't move down. You start by using the base of the tomato plant. Now I heavy prune my tomato plants because I want the airflow to get in between. Probably not the best pruning job, but it works. The string is definitely pretty sturdy, but the tomato plant isn't. So after a few weeks, I come through, I re-prune everything that's pretty much touching the bottom, and I'm mainly just, like I said, for the airflow. Then I take another clip. Clamp it around the string inside that groove, and then I clip it. So that helps with the tomato plants to actually stay pretty nice and sturdy. So I'm typically using around, when it's all said and done, around 6 clips per tomato plants. There is other things that I've been able to do too, basically I twist the tomato plant around that twine, but not trying to actually hurt the actual stalk of the tomato plant. This tomato plant is going to produce so many tomatoes, but it's pretty crazy that one string and a couple of clips will actually hold this entire tomato plant up. What I like about this is I can get multiple rows, and I do have my tomato plants planted about 18 to 20 inches apart from each other. And this year we're only doing 3 rows. Now next year I do plan on actually intergrowing a few different varieties between my peppers and my tomato plants. This year I have yet to kind of get my pepper plants in here, and that's kind of on my agenda today after I do some heavy pruning for these tomato plants. This year our first plant that's actually starting to produce the tomatoes is the Sun Sugar from Haas Tools. Now all of the variety that we have growing in here is from Haas Tools, and I am already extremely impressed with just, I mean, like, it's already, we're already in the starts of a jungle. I also have the Mortgage Lifter tomato. This one, it caught my eye because of all the colors and the variety, so I'm pumped about that. I also have the traditional Better Boy Celebrity Tomato, the Lemon Boy, which I do really enjoy yellow tomatoes because whenever we're making our salsa, it just adds such color. Purple Boy tomatoes, the Invincible tomato, Sweetheart tomato, and I feel like I have a few other, but I'm not exactly sure where I put those packets. One of the biggest questions that we get asked about our tomato plants and why we're actually don't have it opened up to allow for any pollination to come in is because tomato plants are really easy to pollinate just by a little bit of wind. That's why we have our fans. We have 2 big vents on the front of this greenhouse. As you can see, there's a lot of ventilation in this just by the wind and just by fans. So that eliminates the need for having pollinators to come in and actually pollinate our tomatoes. Mom is in the background and we were just kind of laughing because a lot of people ask, what do we do with this many tomato plants? So in this year, I did not plant as many tomato plants as what I did last year, which I think I had over 210 tomato plants. This year I did, I want to say 150.
Okay, so you reduced it by what?
Just by a little bit.
10%.
By a little bit.
20%.
We had tomato plants all the way up until after Christmas last year.
Yes.
And that was pretty awesome to see, and just being able to have that amount of fruit.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. But, so what do we do with all of our tomato plants? So this year,
it's kind of like a tomato gump thing.
We can. We do a lot of canning.
I don't even know how many jars of salsa.
Yes.
And spaghetti sauce.
We still have like a whole shelf of spaghetti sauce.
Oh, and we did the tomato juice.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Canning your tomatoes, they have so much liquid in them. So we were actually able to pour off some of that liquid and actually canned all of our tomato juice, which I like. I enjoy.
Oh, it's delicious.
I absolutely enjoy just drinking tomato juice. It's really good for you, especially if you're not feeling good. Just drink some tomato juice, and that's like the best vitamins ever.
Soups and stews and whatever you're doing. I think
we try not to waste anything. Yeah. You know, even the skin.
Yeah, we save the skin.
The reason why you save the skin is so that you can actually dehydrate that and then turn that into a powder. And then if you need to add any thickening agent, that's what you make tomato paste with.
So I think the biggest find was the roasting pan method on making. Oh my goodness, that was a game
changer.
Yeah, that was, and then yes, absolute game changer. If you have somebody that likes to plant tomatoes like Kaylee does, and I think we got some Romas in this year, so I'm really excited for that. And you can a lot of tomatoes and voluminous products like that. Roasting pan was an absolute game changer for us all the way around.
For the most part, I am already done with this side. However, I think there's already a few that I need to go ahead and clip a little bit more. This side is what we're working on now, and if any of you guys are interested in purchasing any of the Haas Tool products, I will put my affiliate link down below. It's another way to help support our channel, as well as you guys get some product for yourself and grow your own tomato plants. As you can see, tomato plants are probably one of my favorite things to grow. Just so delicious, and we enjoy cooking with them, having BLTs, dehydrating them, adding them in pretty much anything that we possibly can. keep you guys posted on the tomato jungle greenhouse. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old.